Hi, Jim Lawson here from Bourns Pro Audio with my friend here, Chuck Manzano again. We're here in the Bourns factory in Tijuana, Mexico. This is where we build our Model 82s, Model 95 premium guitar pots, and we're going to take you on a little tour today and show you how we fabricate these high quality pots, how they're put together, how they're packaged, and how we ship them out to our resellers and to our distributors. Before we get started on the tour, Chuck, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of this facility?
Yeah, this factory was established back in 1969, and it was one of the first manufacturing facilities that was set up under the Maquiladora program. Our pots weren't originally built in this factory. They were built in another factory across town. And in 2006, we started a consolidation of the two factories. In 2007, they were completed, and our pots were started to be manufactured in this facility.
So how big is this factory?
This facility, once it was consolidated, we added a second floor, and it's now over 200,000 square feet.
Now, we build other products here besides the premium guitar pots. What's the breadth of the manufacturing here?
Yeah, we do. We have trim pots that are board-level components that are manufactured here. We've also got precision multi-turn wire-wound products. We've got other panel controls that are manufactured here. We've got some automotive products that are manufactured, some position sensors, and we also have the latest introduction is the microelectronics modules.
And encoders, of course.
Yes, we also do encoders here.
We must have some kind of qualifications and certifications at the facility. Can you share that bit of data with us?
Yes, we do. This facility is ISO 9002 certified, and it's also TS 16949, which is an automotive certification, which is a very, very high standard.
Okay. So that gives you a little background on this facility. Which line are we going to be visiting here today?
Well, today we're going to tour the Model 82 vintage guitar pot assembly. We're going to hit several different areas. We're going to hit the molding area, the machining area. We're going to look at how the contact springs are made, and the element printing area, so you can take a real good look at how these parts the piece parts are made, and then we'll tour the assembly area and look at final testing.
Great. Do I have to get dressed up?
To get into the clean room, we're going to have to wear some special garments.
Okay, so stay tuned for that. Let's go take the tour. So Chuck, judging from the way you and I and everyone else in here is dressed, this looks like a clean room.
That's correct. This is a Class 10,000 clean room. As you can see, it's very, very clean in here. The particulate level is kept at a very, very low level. And the reason for that is so that we come out with a very, very high quality element once it's printed and fired through the kilns.
And over here behind me, we're actually making our own inks. Is that true?
That's correct. We have our own proprietary formulations. We use what we call a CP44 formulation for our Model 82 and Model 95 guitar potentiometers, which give you a very, very long-wearing element and very, very low noise. And so the inks are mixed back here, and then they're brought into the room, and they're prepared for printing.
So this is the element printing area. Chuck, tell us a little bit about this.
That's correct. The elements that we use are ceramic elements. They are actually fabricated up in our Logan, Utah facility. They're alumina powder that is compressed under very, very high pressure, and then they're baked. And then the elements are prepared and sent down here, and then they're put into this machine here, which is printing the actual resistive ink onto the element. The elements are then dropped into a conveyor, and then they're brought over here to the kiln, and then they're put on the belt, and they go right through the kiln, fired at a very, very high temperature to cure the ink.
Okay, so this is where the pins are attached to the elements we just got done printing. Tell us a little bit about this process, Chuck.
That's correct. We attach hot tin dip swage wire or tin plated solder lugs to the element in this process. As you can see, the swage machine threads the wire through to the element and compresses the wire into the element hole, which results in a swage head on the top side of the element and a very tightly compressed fit in the hole. In the case of solder lugs, the solder lugs are braced to the element and then packaged for the next assembly station. And by the way, all of our materials that we use are ROHS compliant.
Okay, let's go take a look at the contact spring fabrication area next. Hi again, we're in the spring contact area where we're manufacturing wipers for our Model 82s and Model 95s. Chuck, tell us a little bit about this process and the wipers we're using on these models.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of machines here where we load the spools on, and then the spools are fed into the machine. And what we have is a multi-finger contact spring, and the wires are fed into the machine, and right at this station they're welded to a tie bar, and then they get passed through, and then they get formed and cut in this section.
So what is another type of contact spring that would be used besides a multi-finger?
Well, there's also a stamp contact springs, which can be multi-finger stamped, or they can be just a single stamped or a rake type contact spring.
But you would say the multi-finger is definitely an advantage.
The multi-finger is definitely an advantage because you get more surface contact as the wiper goes around the element. There's always little spots where there's high and low areas, and the multi-fingers will ride up and down, so you get the maximum contact out of the element.
Okay, here we are in the machining area. This is the first part of our tour where we're going to be showing you how we're making products that the end user actually is going to see. That would be the shaft and the bushing of the pot. Chuck, tell us a little bit about this process.
Yeah, this area has several machines where we do custom bushings and custom shafts. We use different types of materials. We can use aluminum, brass, stainless steel. But for the Model 95s and the Model 82s, we'll either use aluminum for the bushings and or nickel-plated brass for the shafts. On the Model 90s, we use the brass shafts and brass bushing. These machines here are cutting out all of the material and creating the bushings. This one behind me is doing the bushings right now. We get lots of requests for custom bushings and custom shafts, and these machines can be set up so that they can do any type of length or bushing type of thread. So what you're seeing here is a standard bushing that's coming out of the machine right now. We can also do various types of plating on our bushings. One of our high-profile customers requested one time that we do gold plating on the bushings and the shafts, so we have that capability also in-house.
Okay, now we've found ourselves over here in the molding area where we actually mold internal and external parts of some of our potentiometers. Many of them are in your favorite Bourns blue. So please, Chuck, please tell us a little bit about this process.
Yeah, we have several molding machines that we have set up here, and we mold different types of materials. We use high temperature materials obviously for parts that are surface mount, but for our guitar potentiometers, we either use a sheenite or a Velox type of material, which is a glass-filled material. It provides a very rigid surface for the housing of the material, and it keeps it dust-free and moisture-free. The rotors are also molded in the same type of process. The rotors carry the contact spring on the inside of the units. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have any of the machines running right now that are molding the housings. But what I have here is housings that have already been molded and bagged and ready for assembly. And then these are lids right here that have already been molded.
And we're going to move on to the assembly process in just a second, but one quick question for you. These are sealed pots. Can you talk a little bit about that? And we'll see that process in a little bit when we move on.
Yes, these are all riveted together with a front cover and a rear cover. And they're pretty much impermeable to any kind of dust, and they keep the moisture out too. So the pots stay nice and clean on the inside for the lifetime of the pot itself.
Okay, we'll move on now. Okay, right at this point in time, we are at our molding area, and I understand that we do many of our molds. Here's an example here of a fairly complex mold. Tell us a little bit about this area here, Chuck.
Well, some of the molds we fabricate in here in-house, and some of them we fabricate outside. But we also do inserts to the molds, which give us the capability of doing customization, different variations of bushings and shafts, whatnot. So these molds are kept here in this mold shop, and then they're changed out and modified here, and then they're taken over to the mold area.
Great. Thank you. Let's move on. Okay, here we are in the Model 90 and Model 80 production cells here in the final assembly area. Just to give you an idea of the wide variety of customization we can do, if you have a look at this display down here, you see all sorts of variations off of the Model 80 model we've been talking about, the Model 90s, as well as some other variants of other models we do. This particular part right here is the Model 82 premium guitar pot. And up here at the top, we have an exploded view of a Model 90, which is the series we use to manufacture the Model 95 premium guitar pot. Chuck, why don't you talk us through this? Tell us what we've seen so far and what we're about to see.
Okay, so what we've seen so far is we've seen the element fabrication and the pin swaging, which is this part right here. This goes into the housing. We just came from the mold shop, and the mold shop does the housing, and they do the bushing insert. They also do the rotors, and they can do either the plastic or metal shafts. And the rotors also manufactured down in the mold shop, but we didn't get to see that because there wasn't any available. Then we also saw the contact spring fabrication, which is this little tiny guy right here. And this is what rides on top of the element.
Okay, let's take a walk over to the assembly area, and we'll show you how this kind of goes together like a puzzle. Okay,
at this station, the contact spring is being inserted into the rotor and then put into the housing. So at this station, the pins are being preformed on the element, and then they get taken over to the other station where they get inserted into the housing. Okay, so the terminals at the end of the day come out preformed like this one here. Okay, at this station, the element is being put onto the housing, and then the cover will be put on, and then she's going to fully assemble it. So we have multiple test points along the way for the assembly, so that way we have assurance that the final product is going to be 100% good when it comes out of the production line. Okay, at this station she is forming the pins on the housing. As you can see, they come out in a J-hook. At this station, the bushing is being assembled into the top cover, so they get staked in. At this station, the washers and the ESD spring is being added to the shaft. Okay, so now the shafts are being lubricated and the bushings are being assembled onto the housing. Okay, so at this station, the rivets and the rear cover are being assembled into the housing, and then they're going to go into the next station where they'll be sealed. The final product is being tested and final inspection. So they get tested for TR, CRV, end resistance, linearity, and mechanical angle. Okay, so at this station now, she's putting on the hardware onto the pots themselves, and then putting them into these packaging trays. These trays are used with perforation so that they can be broken apart real easy and sold individually. One very important note: these little grounding washers are to be used with these pots because you can't solder to the rear cover of these pots. They need to be grounded with one of these solder lug washers.
So Chuck, this looks like we're sealing over the packaging material. So that looks like it would be really nice to protect these pots from the environment, dust and whatnot at our resellers and our distributors.
That's correct. We use a sticky side that goes onto the tray, and it seals it up so that it protects it from any kind of dust and moisture when it goes to the distributors and the resellers. So when they have it on the shelf, the dust doesn't get inside.
But I have stuff down with the E. Fun. Oh, tour's over. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Well, we hope you enjoyed that tour today. We were just having a little fun. This is a demo that we put together for our shows, like the NAMM show. Perhaps if you come to the NAMM show in California, we've had this out there a couple times. It's a demo box, so we're able to have folks come in and sit down and play guitar that we've loaded with the ability here to try out different pots, different kinds of products that we offer, different tapers, different values matched with different pickups. and put a pair of headphones on so you can really listen to the guitar and listen to the differences between a particular potentiometer and another type or another value. So next time we do a show, perhaps you'll be able to come by and put a pair of headphones on and listen to the differences and learn a little bit. It goes a long way. It's a lot better to listen to it than have us try to explain it to you, and everybody goes kind of glassy-eyed when that happens. So, Chuck, thanks very much for the tour today. I think we learned a lot. Anything you'd like to say to the audience before we head home?
Just to remind everybody, we've got quite a wide variety of guitar potentiometers, not just the Model 82s and Model 95s. So, think about upgrading your guitars, not just the pickups, but the potentiometers, and they go a long ways. You can really hear the difference. And of course, the different types, you'll be able to hear the difference here in the booth whenever you step in. We also have a lot of other products that are applicable to professional audio equipment. So if you're doing any repairs or if you're doing any upgrades, keep us in mind. We also have trimmers, we have fixed resistors, resistor networks, we've got circuit protection products. So keep Bourns in mind. We've got the highest quality, highest reliability parts. And that's about it.
Great. Okay. One more time, this is Jim Lawson and Chuck Manzano from Bourns Pro Audio. Thanks very much for listening and watching. What's for dinner, Steve? By the way, Steve's our videographer behind the camera. You can't see him, but he's been very patient with us all day today in the factory and here when we kind of got distracted. But what's for dinner?
I want fish tacos and a Corona.
Great. We'll see you next time.
Well, Bourns de Mexico was established back in 1996. It was one of, what?
1996.
Oh, 969. Is that loud enough? Yeah. We have to hold it up. With all the noise in here.
Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, what we do is we blah, 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 blah.
So, Chuck, this is the fourth take of this, right?
That's correct. Take your earplugs off there.
What?